Hello, YouTube. I'm trying this new thing out here. Um, Maybe take some questions. I get questions quite often. Um, so, thinking that maybe I could start doing a Thursday Q&A, maybe like thing. So, with that being said, um, see how this goes and try to do it on Thursdays. Most Thursdays I don't have many appointments. So, think maybe I could come up and do something like that. Um, each week that I do this, you guys can leave me. I could try to answer questions and whatnot from the videos. From the past video that I had, I was asked how do I do the aluminum pie tray that I used on the Fairlane, that the Fairlane got wrecked. Let me pull that down for you. So this right here was the Fairlane, and I did a video on it about the rusting, and see if I can't, yeah. I did a video about building this in a day and doing the rusting and whatnot. And I had a question about that damage, the wrecking and damage that I'd done. So what I'd like to do is pull out, let's see what I got here. I just want to do something quick and common. I pick up a bag of hoods and stuff every now and then, you know, just buying spare parts and get that shrink. Hello, Dustin. Looks like I got Dustin in here. And, little Tony. See, what's up, Minnie? I first wanted to send a big shout out to Many Dreams. Each of your builds inspire me. Hey, man, all I do is build what I can dream. If it inspires you to get to the bench and build, by all means, man, ask your questions. I will try to help. Growing up in the hobby, I didn't get many advice. It seems like when I was growing up trying to get better, I would ask questions, and I became more of a problem than I did a member of the community. It seemed like everybody I'd ask a question to would just, I kind of got the cold shoulders, like, dude, I can wire the engine, but look how good your distributors and stuff look. How do I do that? And they're like, well, it takes some money, or, well, you'll learn it as you grow. And nobody told me, well, you know, I'm buying a Model Car Garage pre-wired distributor. Or, we got Fat Boys, we have Fat Cats on Facebook who sells a little $4 pre-wired distributor. You know, there wasn't that information out there when I was younger. I got, I kind of felt like I was pushed away, and that's why I called, you know, I said it being a nuisance. Let me find, I will get better organized with this stuff, guys, once we get to, like I said, this is the first live show. So here I got an old Ford AMT hood. They go for the 92 Ford. This right here is just going to be a quick, you know, just a quick thing. And then you want to take a pie sheet. Right here is just from the dollar store, just a, you know, average everyday pie sheet. Timothy Ivett from the ISM Live crew. You guys can find him over on Facebook and on their webpage. He showed me where a gentleman in one of his groups had done this. And I know there's so many different outlets for us hobbyists that we don't get to join everything. So I just hurried up and cut a big square out like this. Now it has this stuff here like this, but don't worry about that so much, because you know you can always rub that out. You can always rub that out. then it will finally disappear. But for the most part, we're damaging the piece. So then you take your hood. You got to make sure your piece is big enough to cover your subject. So then you just do this. And I start out like this. I like to roll an edge. Then I like to roll an edge like so. Right there keeps it from moving. And then you can always cut it. But like I said, for the most part, we're going to use this to damage anyway, you know. So then I just, if you guys, whoa, get that down there like that. And then I just start, you could take a pop, I always have a tray of these popsicle sticks. You can take these, and you can just start, and I just start like this. And it'll get the Ford emblem and everything in there. Whatever's on that plastic will show up. You just got to be able to get in there and take your time. You can see it's already taken a form, you know. And then you just get in there. And basically, I wanted to do this to do the damage. And I could never find my grandfather in, I'm going to say 90 or maybe 89. 1989, he had a stroke. And the hospital physical therapist had my grandpa do some copper varnishing is what they called it. And I could never find the copper sheet, but basically gave him a picture and gave him this copper tin, and he's supposed to go over the top of it and, you know, try to get his motor movement back. And I always wanted to grab that just so I can, you know, make a form, you know. And you start doing this. It sucks. What sucks about this is you take all this time on the bench to make this just to damage it up. Then you got to work it all out. I don't know how the slide thing was going to go. I wasn't that prepared, guys. But I noticed when you do the Facebook Live thing here, I tried to do a hinging video a couple months ago on the Facebook Live, and the picture, everybody was complaining how blurry it was, and I'm using a Samsung S7 Edge phone. I can't control the camera. So first of all, you get your shape. See, I got all the borders in there. Then on the back side, you kind of open it back up a little bit, and then we got to do some trimming. And then I put the piece back on here. Don't worry about undoing all this, because I always put the piece back on here. All we're trying to do right now is, you know, just get the shape. So then you pop your hood out, and you can see the back side. You can almost even use this. Say, who was it? I got a follower on Facebook who's restoring Chevelle, and there's parts and pieces that were damaged that he was trying to replace. Say you put an offer out there that you're trying to fix something or rebuild something, or even some of these kits we buy come with the damaged pieces already. You can almost make this pie sheet and mold you another one out of resin, because it's sturdy as hell. And then, you know, you can pour your resin in there and basically use this for a mold. And you try to trim it up the best you can without damaging the pieces. But usually it'll show the line, you know, where the back of your hood was. And you just cut it and trim it. And right here you got this piece like this now. So then what I do is I put it back on the piece that I done, and then you try to finish up the corners. You give it just enough of an edge So that way you get your shape back in there. Now in hindsight, you'd want to do 2 layers if he's going to do this for real. Sorry, Taylor. Is anybody else hearing me cut in and out? Then once I do that, get that all the way, usually take a sharp blade. Maybe I get a better, yeah, there you go. I usually get a sharp blade and then I trim from the back side. We'll see once I go to the upload, because it gives me an option to upload on this live. We'll see if it still cuts in and out. So now I kind of trimmed it back up, and you got your regular hood, and then you got your aluminum hood. And then depending upon what crash you guys want to go with, you just take your part and say he hit a pole over here. You just take your part and you run it into it and you let it do its bend. You know, you can always manipulate it. That wasn't the dent you wanted. I can just pull it back out. Because with the pie tray and the serving tray, it's a lot thicker than aluminum foil. A lot thicker. So, now say you want it to look like it hit a pole head on. Just take something round, hold on to both of your pieces, like, you know, like this. And then you can just hit it. And right there to give you your, you know, like it hit a pole. You know, and then say you didn't like that hit, that wasn't what you wanted. But I did mine on the Fairlane. I built it and painted it first. You can always just take back your copied piece, go over there, reshape it, and then get the wreck that you wanted. I know a lot of young men are building crash up derbies and stuff. There's a whole Facebook page of it at one time. So instead of trying to melt your part or whatnot, you could take, say you wanted this station wagon. What you can do is take the aluminum foil, put it over your part, mold your part, then come back in here and you can cut away what you want to damage. And that way you can get a more realistic hit look. Because when we melt plastic, I have plenty of these hoods. So if you was to do it like some of these guys are doing, where's my lighters? If you do it like some of these guys do, and you try to melt the plastic like they do, you're going to see how you get that roll. You know what I mean? And then when you try to hit it and damage it, you know, you do something like this, and that's not how a car will, really damage, you know. So, doing it with aluminum foil, you can actually get the crunch and, you know, all the backlash of it. Because, you know, an impact, you know, it don't just stop right there, you know, it's going to come back like that, you know. So, you guys can get a better damage look that way. For me, is I molded the fender. I did all the painting. I molded the hood. I did all the painting first. I painted this teal color first. And then I damaged it. Yeah, that's right, game. Tabletop. And it, like Tabletop just said, it's like the momentum from the crash. The cars are built like if this was a real car. This was a real car. All the frame rails have either shocks on some old cars or your newer cars. You look underneath your car, it looks like a potato chip. It's rippled. And what that is to keep this part of your car from collapsing. So it has an impact zone. So it's wanting, if you get front end damage or rear end damage, it's trying to keep the doors from crushing and what have you. So they're called crumple zones. And like tabletop modeling said, it's our garage, tabletop garage. Sorry about that, buddy. The crumple effect, because the force and the momentum of the crash, you know, you got it gets in the energy from the crash. It won't just hit just right there. And a lot of these young men with the lighters and stuff or heat guns, they're not getting the right, you know, effect of it. Some great detail goes into these young guys that are like, I've read comments like, "Oh man, you're trash. You did this, you did that." I say that's the way they want to build. That's their aspect of the hobby. You should support it, because some of those guys get good detailing in. Well, guys, that right there was like a little 16, 17 minute thing. You guys feel this live would work better for a tech versus me trying to do a video and then post it? Here's the wagon I've been working on. I had to make the back door. Now I'll let this set. I'll probably put it in prime. Probably start setting this primer down in a few days. The next thing I need to do is my buddy Mark. My buddy Mark from Sprue Surgeon. He's been asking about how to do how I do the hinging and stuff. So I'll try to get that together. Yeah, I was just asked by a tabletop garage, and that's one thing that Mark needs to have done too, is to do the hinges like I do. So I try to help out John Pohl from Canada, and I try to make a video on Facebook, but it disappears. So if I do this, I can make a whole hey, what's up, Steve? No, 2004, that is the Hemi, the 6.1 liter Hemi out of the 06 Dodge Magnum. Being that this right here is a Plymouth, I kind of wanted to keep it all Plymouth Dodge inspired. So it's got the 06 motor. Hey, what's up, Gil? I'm trying to do this live bench thing, buddy. It's got the 6.1 liter Hemi out of the 06, the Revell 06 Magnum SRT8 motor. It's got 67 Plymouth GTX hood scoops. And so I kind of want to keep this all Chrysler inspired, you know. So yeah, I talked to Jeremy. I talked to Jeremy at Clearly Scale, which he's making all the Hellcat parts are going to be out later on this year to turn your guys' Chargers and Challengers into Hellcats. So watch that. You can find Jeremy on clearlyscale.com, or you can go to Facebook where he has he's under Jeremy John on Facebook. But yeah, he's got the Hellcat stuff coming. I can do the hinging. Won't we wait until next Thursday? I'll get all the supplies. I'll write down everything you guys need so I could be more informative. And next Thursday I'll do the Thursday tech will be the hood hingings that I do. It's a basic, it's quick, it's easy. I will tell you this, it takes practice. So you got to be patient. Does it, to me, what time do you guys think works better? Because I have children in the evening, and it would be chaos to try to do a later video. It is 11 a.m. Good time, noon, 1. What would be best for you guys? Thanks, Monty. Hey, I really like that Ford Courier you did for the top 10. That was one of the kits I had built early in my years. My dad had the step side and the truck and the one with the camper built on it, man. And I just love those kits, but they got so hard to find. All right, Gil. I know you have the little man too, Gil. I don't want to get involved in that. And on Tuesdays and Fridays, I watch the Live at the Bench with Paul Britlin and all them. So I don't want to cut into that. And then I know, Gil, you do your own thing on Friday. So I didn't want to cut into none of that. Thanks. Now, Gil, if you guys don't know Red Dragon Model Works, it's Gil. You guys need to go sub to Gil. Gil he builds an array of things. Oh man, he built some bad dragons, and I'm a big fan of dragons. My whole arm is sleeved out with tattooed with dragons and stuff. He's did some great dragons. Some really nice cars too. I wouldn't put Gil Pacific into a genre. He said so himself. Why limit yourself to just one thing? To me, I grew up building cars. It wasn't until just recently finding YouTube over the years and hanging out with the guys from the ISM crew, meeting people like Gil, that I've started to do things like, like here's some of my figures that I've done. Just trying to, watching Gil, you build friendship. Not only build friendship, you build wants to do other things. I know Dustin is in here. Dustin at Hinterland Customs. Shoot, we both just finished the tank, and Dustin did a really nice, I think it was 100-year anniversary thing that he built on his tank. You got to open yourself up. Let's see if you get that in the focus. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid. I'm a big believer. It's like, no matter who you are or what you do, share your work. Yeah, American cars are my passion too. Tabletop. But I'm guilty of being selective, and I shouldn't be. I'm guilty of being 60s up. I really don't build anything older than that for some reason. I look through my collection, and I look through the stuff I built over the years. I can't really say that I built a whole lot after the 60s. It seems like the 60s up was my favorite, and I tended to build more of those. Yeah, I hear you, 2004. I don't know. I think it's the way, like, you could put a Ford, Chevy, Buick. They used to have Duesenbergs. They used to have different types of vehicles that never made to mass production, and you put them all together like the 32s. It's almost harder to pick which one was a Chevy, which one was a Buick. For me, it was like that all the way up until maybe the 49, 40s, before they started getting their own definition. Yes, Mark, this is live now, bud. And I just mentioned to you a minute ago, next Thursday, I'm going to get all the stuff I need this week. Next Thursday, I'm going to do the hinging for you, Mark. Show how everybody, how I do the hinges, because that was a question you asked. So right here is just another little figure. So try not to limit yourself. I'm guilty of being limited. There's a lot of different genres of the community that we can all get into and build. I just particularly had put my time into building cars. Yeah, Too Tall. You guys see Too Tall's in the comment. Go like and sub on him. He's also on Facebook. He's been building a lot of the roadkill cars. And like he mentioned, he likes to build replicas of things. And see, that's another genre of building. Me, I open my mind. I'm very custom based, very, I don't stick to the instructions. I don't stick to the box. Yeah, I had a lot of help. I spent many a time talking on Messenger with Gil on how to highlight and how to shade. There's some great help out there, guys. So do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to share your work. That's how we grow. There's going to be there's assholes among us. I'm not going to lie. There's know-it-alls. There's shit talkers, for lack of better words. You have to find out who works for you. I don't want to say it's like a high school clique, but there's some of us that get along better with each other than others seem to do. We can't please everybody. There's times in our life that for some reason we're just angry, and you got to give people their time. You got to give people their room to either vent or to move on, So, but don't be afraid to share your work and don't be afraid to ask questions. There's a lot of great help here. I am been in the hobby since I was 5 years old. I'm 42 now, well, I'm about to be 42 in April. Over the years, you'll get the cold shoulder and you'll get the best friends. I found out that there's people that hang around just to be, for lack of a better word, sponges. That their only concern is, what can I get off of you? Yeah, like Gil just posted, you learn from every build. You learn from every genre. What can I say about doing stuff like this and asking questions about doing this brass bull from the Reaper line? I added a bull. I added a bull horn. I added a chain. See if you guys can see that. I added a chain around his neck just to make it mine. But I contacted Gil and I said, Gil, I don't want this whole thing brass. So I based it in UMP black primer. I put the gold brass down his backbone. What should I do? And Gil said, looking at all the textures, the layers that this has, highlight it. And I didn't know what he meant by highlighting. Guys, been in this hobby for years. I never dry brushed. Gil said put a little bit of a color that you want to accent the high spots. Dip your brush in it. Wipe your brush off. And then just go over the top of it. And what paint is left in the brush is going to stand on all the high points. And when I did it, man, this thing just popped. And here it is. I've been in the hobby 30-some years. And it had never dry brush. I didn't know the basis of dry brushing. Now I'm detailing my chassis. Now I was always so fixed on it has to be perfect shiny that I'm having fun enjoying the weathering stuff, And I've only done, I did the Bronco, I did the 66 Chevelle, and now I did the Fairlane last week. It's kind of fun. It's a break from trying to be perfect. Sometimes we drown ourselves with trying to do the perfect detail that we burn ourselves out. I got many projects that I went to customize and I just got burnt because I did too much, and just can't focus on it no more. I'll get back to it someday. But that's just a little bit of me. I will try to read some of your... Yeah. I like how I can actually read your guys' comments. Sometimes, I'm surprised I have 23 watching me right now. Um, but I'll try to go back and read your guys' comments and try to answer your questions. Um, Hello, Timothy. Yeah, well, I go through phases, Hinter. Um, and my phases is like I get on a low rider. I get on a low rider emphasis. So I'll focus on building those for shoot. That was the only subject I was building for years. And then I got into the pro touring stuff because I found Steve Zimmerman wheels. And wheels change the look of a vehicle. I don't care what vehicle you have. You can have a 63 Tempest rusting away, bumpers won't even stay on the frame rails anymore. You put a set of drag ultralights on it and that thing is going to be bad to the bone. Thanks, Mark. Um, you guys, like I know Taylor and I know Mark and Gil and Hinterland. When you guys follow the live shows, you can go over each other's symbol that's on the side, and you guys can join each other. Some people don't have no. Hey, what's up, Stat? I haven't seen you on the Young Model Masters Hangout much lately. Is everything good with you, bud? And so you can join each other and find out stuff from each other. But like I said, I'm gonna try to do this every Thursday. And next Thursday, I will get everything ready for. I'll get everything ready to do the hinging how to. I'll find me a subject in here, and we'll hinge it up. And well, guys, that's about it. You guys tune in. Hope to see you guys out at the bench. Don't forget my Mr. Mini Dreams Facebook page is open to all hobbyists as long as you keep it focused on building and model related stuff. You guys, everybody is good to take part. Everybody. I don't hold anybody accountable for what happens outside of my channel. So my channel is an open, free place. You guys are more than welcome to come there and share. Ask your questions. I can, that will help me do better on the Tech Thursday stuff. So, you guys have a great day. Thanks for spending a half hour with me here on this Thursday. And hopefully, next time it'll be more organized and more together. Peace. Love you guys as families. And like the master says, it's in here, Gilbert, try not to let anything destroy your hobby. Focus on it. You can't control other people, So have a good one. Thanks for all you guys that joined in.